Welcome to the exciting rebirth of Superstar, featuring choose your membership rate as low as just $3 a month. At Superstar, you get expanded, exclusive video scopes each and every week, unlimited access to special horoscopes, class passes for Synchronicity University, consultations with me, and so much more. All of this in the Superstar space. I look forward to meeting you there. Hello, fabulous superstar Aquarius. Welcome to your horoscope for the month of January 2023. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. It is a remarkable astrological month, without a doubt. Big moves happening in the sky now, and boy, is that ever true for you. As we begin the month, we've got this focus on what it is that you have to do in terms of your work, and things are going really well. This focus on what it is that brings you joy, but then very quickly, the energy starts to shift and it becomes about you. You redefining yourself in some way, you seeing yourself differently, knowing yourself differently, and getting clear about who you are on a level of identity. Your own priorities are going to come to the surface now. And I think there will be a lot of Aquarians out there who actually are going to find themselves quite surprised by what it is they come to realize about themselves. This is a brand new chapter on the horizon as we start the month, but you are fully immersed in it once we get late into the month. So let's take it one at a time. On the 6th of the month, we will have this month's full moon. Now, that full moon takes place in a part of the sky for you that has to do with your daily life. And so what I've found normally when we have important lunar activity here or planetary activity is that you just get more busy. So there's activity in general as you move through your life, you move through your day. Whether that is work, very possible now, more busyness with clients, customers, and coworkers. Also possible that your projects and your work-related endeavors come into focus. But this can also bring a focus on matters related to health and how well you take care of you, your habits as well. Now, here's the thing. We've got some gorgeous energy here that I think you will love. On the one hand, we do have Uranus, your modern ruling planet, at the foundation of your chart, speaking in harmony with this full moon. And so I feel like this comes down to intention. Just you having the inspiration, knowing that change is possible, maybe feeling like there's the potential there for some opportunity, and you run with it, and very quickly you make gains in a way that I think you will love. You add to this the fact that we have a supremely harmonious connection between Neptune and that full moon as well. There's the promise here of financial gain that could find you at this time. If you have a home-based business or work with homes, well, the potential for maximizing results in terms of clients, customers, coworkers become that much more likely. And this can also be a time when you really are evaluating how you actually live, the routines as you move through your day, and bringing a fresh perspective there really can help you to feel that much more useful and that much more clear as you navigate forward from here. I will say this can bring with it practical opportunity as well, not just about what's happening with clients, customers, coworkers, but like new job prospects can show up at this time that seem to come with a lot of promise. And also the way they show up can feel very delightful. Now, as we navigate forward, the 12th of the month is when we have a very special event, and that is Mars going direct. This is huge. If you think back, it was just before Halloween 2022 that Mars went retro. But if you think back even further, it was the first part of September that Mars went into shadow. And now, as Mars stations direct, Mars has returned to where he was in the first part of September 2022. So this is quite remarkable because I think for just about everybody, what was happening in September, you will see it very differently now in some way. You may change your mind. You might want different things. You might evaluate things differently. And for you, it's this heart-oriented part of the sky that's been so lit up with this Mars retrograde season. For some Aquarians out there, this has shown up in terms of prioritizing your creative endeavors. And it is now that you may see what it is that feels especially creatively rewarding differently. It could be now that you're also feeling that much more inspired and inclined towards moving in a direction that brings with it a greater sense of happiness in more of your moments in your life. Now, this part of the sky also having to do with the children in your life. If there's been a matter where you felt you've had to pour a lot of energy into a child, for example, in that regard, well, it is now that this is a very good development where it feels like things are able to move forward with that much more purpose and intent. Now, let's talk about a very, very special event for you that plays out now on the 21st and 22nd. This is a jam-packed period of time that will be incredibly important for you. Talk about a period of time that really can feel like it changes things for you, dramatically so, shifts you in a whole other direction. And so it is going to be on the 21st that we are going to have a new moon in your sign. And it is the beginning of your birthday month as well. So happy birthday to the Aquarians out there. The thing to keep in mind is that new moons bring with them new opportunities, new possibilities. It's a fresh new chapter. It's your own personal new year. But the fact that we have this new moon at the very beginning of your sign does suggest this idea of newness is that much more heightened. With this energy comes a truly fresh perspective, and for some Aquarians, a desire to go a whole other way. That sense of a brand new chapter may be sweeping, but for others, it might be more personal than that. And yet, I think that the sweeping effect is much more likely. And the reason I say that is because it isn't just that there's a new moon, it is speaking in harmony with Jupiter. And so there is this sense now of fun and healing and hope and excitement for the new things that are coming from within you, but also finding you in your life now. As we move to the 22nd, this is where that new moon energy amplifies so much. That is because first, we will have Saturn and Venus meeting in the same part of the sky in your sign. Now, Saturn and Venus meet once a year. And when they do, it always represents a turning point moment where it comes to love on the one hand, very big topic for you this month. And I'll again talk about that in just a moment. So love is a part of this, yes, but it's also self-love, it's self-awareness. It is connected to prosperity and money and how it is that you understand pleasure and joy and enjoying yourself, the good life itself. It is now that you're about to get a reality check moment into all of that, seeing yourself differently, but also seeing your potential differently as well. Where it is that maybe you've gone way off in the clouds, very possible, this is going to be almost a thud grounding you. And yet, where it is that you have stayed balanced, you have stayed grounded, well, this can be a time of solid gains, whether that is in terms of your self-value, self-love, self-esteem, whether that is in terms of knowing that you alone are enough, your ability to attract is enough to create the stability that you desire in your life, and that you hold love. You hold your own love in all kinds of ways, not speaking romantically just yet. And so this moment of your ancient ruling planet in your sign meeting Venus is either going to be a wake up reality check to that Venus, or it's going to be love and ease meshing with that sense of responsibility and self-respect that you hold. It's taking responsibility for your happiness that's going to be highlighted here. Now, what I find really remarkable is that in early March, it is going to be Saturn that leaves your sign, not to return for well over 2 decades. And so this is the last time you're going to have Venus meeting Saturn in your sign for a very long time to come. Make the most of this. Strive to stay honest with you, or that honesty will just show up. And that factor of it just showing up is magnified by another factor, and that is the fact that Uranus, where Saturn is your ancient ruling planet, Uranus is your modern ruling planet, and Uranus will go direct on the same day. This is very special. I feel when I look at this that this is a sense of a light bulb coming on, a clarity finding you. Uranus at the foundation of your chart is about understanding home differently, seeing it more clearly in some way. It's about understanding your roots and your past and to whom it is that your loyalties really lie on a very deep level. It's about your literal home, but also your psychological home, your spiritual home within. Whether it is seeing your ancestors very differently or redefining your connection with the past, it is now that in some way you are releasing some element of your past and being propelled into your future, taking the best and leaving the rest in the most empowered sense. This is perhaps the most important energy, but you're going to feel it that much more, although you would feel it anyways because of that new moon. And so the fact that all of these events are happening right around the same time, it speaks to a sense of fresh starts, fresh perspectives that for the overwhelming majority of Aquarians is going to feel sweeping and important. Now, where it comes to matters of love, it is a very special time. So on the one hand, we've got Mars, right? Mars is in a heart-oriented part of the sky, having to do with flirtation and romance, and it is now that it may finally feel like clarity comes or forward momentum comes. In one way or another, I do think right around the 12th of the month, there is this moment that fills you with verve, fills you with energy. It's almost like it gets your blood going, but it can be in a good way. It might not be in a good way. I guess we're judging it good or bad, but what I mean is it's either going to be your anger or it's going to be your passion or it's going to be your determination or it's going to be your frustration. But so much is stirring for you now in your heart that it is going to show up in the context of love in some way. Now you add to this the fact that Venus is in your sign for most of the month. And this month being characterized by having Venus in your sign, the fact that in the middle of the month, Venus is going to connect in a conversation of tension with Uranus, that is a romantic surprise that really does not go as hoped or as planned. I'm sorry to say that this could be a shock, not necessarily a surprise. It could be awkward as well. But that gives way to that moment of truth, that grounded, responsible understanding, that mature step that you take that helps you to then move forward from there. Now, I want to add outside of love, Venus in your sign, generally, we like to say as astrologers, is a great time to enjoy the earthly incarnation. And that includes enjoying a sense of your own unique beauty and celebrating that, however you uniquely do it. And so very often when Venus is in one sign, trying out a new hairstyle, new wardrobe, or maybe even something with more consequence like a cosmetic procedure or a tattoo, it tends to feel that much more like the outcomes are something that you really like. However, you do have to be careful with the energy right about now. And that is because while we do have that supportive energy in the first part of the month, as we navigate to the middle of the month, once that Uranian energy starts to set in and then very quickly turns to that Saturnian energy, it really is not the time for any of that. I'm sorry to say. I would also add that Mercury is retrograde right to the 18th of the month as well. And so if you're going over like stuff that you've done before, that's fine. That's great. That's where you want to expend your energies, especially in the first part of the month. But once we navigate past the 12th of the month, that starts to step into a time when it may not be the best time to experiment, to try something dramatically different than what you have before. But like I like to say, if you've watched me for a while, it's just hair, right? It's just hair. You've seen me with all kinds of colors and styles and stuff over the years. Have at it. Make your choice consciously and do what it is that you feel inspired to do in light of your unique circumstances. But let's talk about all this energy in the context of love. For those of you open to meeting someone new, I do think that Mars energy is going to take on greater importance and a certain urgency starts to find you in the middle of the month. Consider that whatever might be happening in terms of flirtation and romance will in some way connect you to what was taking place for you way back in the first part of September. If there was someone you had your eye on, they may come back around now. If there was someone you were interested in, it may feel as if they weave back in. Maybe you dated somebody and then, they kind of went away. Now you get another layer of understanding. Or it could have been your own feelings, your own approach to dating and romance that comes to the forefront at this time. Now, as a general principle, Venus being in your sign makes you a magnet. That is energy that is with you for about the entire month. And so you do want to tap into this consciously to the best of your ability and trust your ability to attract love and beauty and whatever it is that you desire to celebrate now. For those of you just starting to date somebody, well, look, Mars going direct is a moment of truth if there ever was one. This is especially true if this person has been around in some way, going all the way back to the first part of September. And so whatever's transpiring now will in some way reflect events back then. If this person wasn't around at that time, whether it's your own feelings or inclinations or inspirations, in some way there is a connection that you may want to explore. But for all that, Mars going direct is really having a lot of feeling come to the surface, and it may feel kind of all or nothing now. That all may be feeling that much closer, rise in intimacy becomes that much more possible. But it could also be deciding to go in a different direction. A part of this means being honest with you about what it is you truly want in your heart of hearts, from love especially, and whether or not you think that potential is here. Your answer will decide how to navigate forward. And for those of you in an established bond, what a remarkable time. Now, I think the more dominant energy is likely to be Venus in your sign in that case, because where Mars is can most often speak strongly to dating. However, it is that Mars that may awaken some desire in your heart as well. And where you feel that it hasn't been met, now you get another understanding that in some way connects to what was taking place in the first part of September. At the same time, though, it's that Venus in your sign, and especially what Venus is doing as we get to that new moon, that redefinition of self may very well be rooted in what is transpiring in love at this time. So you're being very honest with yourself about how you feel, what's been taking place, what might have felt ongoing, or what it is that has felt like it popped up in the middle of the month when Venus squared Uranus. For some, this is going to be a turning point that ultimately fortifies the connection, helps you to feel like, okay, we've addressed it and we can address it, we can deal with it, and let's move forward stronger than ever. But there is going to be a small percentage of Aquarians out there, if you have felt for a while that you may not be in the right relationship for you, gosh, I look at that energy around the new moon, you getting in touch with some truth about yourself and the desire to begin again. And then you look at Venus conjunct Saturn. Gosh, you are being so honest with you, even if it's hard. And you're making a choice to decide what it is that you really want to do. And you set out to do it almost immediately with Uranus going direct. What I love about this week for you, keep in mind that once Uranus goes direct, all major planets are going to be direct for the next 3 months. What that means is forward momentum, the time to reflect, to consider, to go within, to revisit the past in some way or another. That is done. You are now moving forward. You are now considering with that much more clarity and purpose what it is you want to implement, what it is you want to do, and what your future could be. Now, taking action in support of that future, well, not only can that yield incredible results now and in the months ahead, but also is the pathway towards a genuine sense of happiness for you, going forward from here. Well, thank you so much for watching. You can get a video like this each and every week for each and every sign for as low as just $3 a month with choose your membership rate. Now, higher tiers get you things like all access passes to Synchronicity University events, consultations with me, and so much more. All of this in the Superstar space at NadiyaShahSuperstars.com. Link is in the description below. Thank you for watching. It'll be a great month. Enjoy.